put here specially so wildlife doesn't have to cross the tracks. Heathrow Express managers say it's all part of the company's aim to be as environmentally friendly as possible.
In building the railway, we've made sure that we're actually empathetic and sympathetic to the local environment. In the embankment here, we've actually built tunnels underneath the track for wildlife to actually cross from one part of the railway over to the other.
In truth, the animals were hired in today for the benefit of our cameras and have previously starred in several television advertisements. Heathrow Express, though, says the tunnels are already being used by wildlife, attracted to the nearby lakes, which emerged from building work largely unscathed. But there will be Londoners who believe strongly anything linked to Heathrow Airport, with its current plans for expansion, is hardly environmentally friendly. But the project organisers say the Heathrow Express will make a difference.
It's very environmentally friendly. I mean, the AA's objective here is to take 3,000 cars off the road each day. Now, that's an 11.5-mile traffic jam, and that's on one of the most busiest routes in Europe, and namely the route from West London into central London.
So passengers taking the Express, including the Prime Minister at next week's official opening, can do so in the knowledge that they may be helping the environment in more ways than one. At Heathrow, this is Gareth Furby for London Weekend Tonight.
That's it from us for now. We're back with our next bulletin tomorrow lunchtime at 1:05. Until then, good night.
LWT Weather, sponsored by First Choice Holidays, for a fabulous choice.
Hello again. Well, London was pretty hot this afternoon. It'll be even hotter tomorrow. A mild night tonight, a bit sticky in places. Temperatures 16, that's around 61. One or two mist patches too, perhaps, but they won't last very long. The sunshine will soon get rid of them in the morning, and temperatures will start to zoom up again. Up to around 21, the 70s, even during the morning. And through the afternoon, 28 perhaps in London. That's 82. Just the chance of a shower tomorrow, but they're more likely on Sunday. Here's a summary.
For a more detailed 5-day outlook, call Weather Update, sponsored by First Choice Holidays on 0891 110000.
Another major sporting event in France.
Wow! Incredible! Calm down, mate.
The French Grand Prix, live next weekend on ITV.
In just a moment, World Cup 98 Encore, highlights of today's action.
An exclusive offer from MasterCard, official sponsors of World Cup 98. Spend £20 or more on your MasterCard at WH Smith and get 2 3-hour blank videotapes free. Just one of MasterCard's World Cup offers. MasterCard, we're in your corner.
I've got the money.
Vienna, tomorrow.
Where now?
Prague.
The Mitsubishi Charisma doesn't need an implausible plot shot by an overpaid director. The Mitsubishi Charisma. Some cars have it, some don't.
Excuse me?
Relive Italia
May the best team win.
Yes!
in a retro riot
I've scored! A new game for the champ.
where infidelity
Yes! Shearer!
met fever pitch.
It's football, isn't it?
That could have been it.
There's a stool in our bathroom.
Well, it's not one of mine.
Paul Merton, Martin Clunes, Clive Owen, Caroline Quentin and Gary Lineker.
Gary Lineker, eh?
An Evening with Gary Lineker, Sunday 10:15 on ITV.
This is LWT. Now with highlights and analysis of today's World Cup action, we go live to Paris and join Jim Rosenthal and team.
Oh, come on then. Come on, hurry up, the match is gonna start. Come on. All right. Oh.
England's biggest World Cup challenge in 8 years is 3 days away. Morale is high. Tonight, we focus on the management, Messrs Hoddle and Gorman.
Sometimes at club level, sometimes at work management are down, players that are down there, and John's that nice bridge in between, and he's another one at lads.
D-Day for Scotland is also looming. We have the latest news on the road to Morocco. The action comes from the hardest group of all, Nigeria, knowing they go through if they beat Bulgaria. Spain have to get a result against Paraguay to survive. We look at Holland. The inventors of total football back in the 70s still have a gap in their global ambitions. And, no sex please, we're British. We ask, is the siege mentality the right method to achieve peak performance? And welcome to Paris for your Friday night Encore. This is the interactive World Cup show. We really value and enjoy your opinions by fax or email. Keep them coming. On tonight's panel, we've got Barry Vennison. Barry making his Encore debut. Special welcome, Barry.
Bonsoir.
We have Terry Venables and we have Bobby Robson. Welcome all. We're going to begin, though, with a profile of the management style of the youngest coach at these finals, a man who became the youngest England manager ever when he was appointed at the age of 38. Now, as soon as he asked a Scot, John Gorman, to be his right-hand man, we knew Glenn Hoddle would get the job done his way. Gary Newbon reporting.
Teammates at Tottenham, soulmates at Swindon. Glenn Hoddle and John Gorman side by side, if not quite in step, steering England through the World Cup. When Hoddle was appointed, Gorman was first to get his call. No surprise given their friendship, even though Gorman's colours are more tartan than St George.
What an opportunity, and here I am now in the World Cup final, sitting here in La Boule. You know, how lucky can a man be?
And you're Scottish, so I mean...
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I just hope we don't meet them.
John's the important bridge between management and the players. You know, I think sometimes at club level, sometimes at work management are down, players that are down there, and John's that nice bridge in between, and he's another one at lads. You know, he has a good laugh. I don't like you reminding him that he is Scottish. You know, he's English throughout, believe it or not, and he loves it. You know, his enthusiasm's infectious.
Other members of England's bridge club include Ray Clements, Peter Taylor and Glenn Roeder. Their playing days are over, but there's still plenty of experience to pass on. The coach himself, of course, still looks good enough and fit enough to play in this World Cup. Even his own players sometimes seem in awe. His public performances for the news cameras have been just as impressive. In La Manga, announcing his squad, he was businesslike.
It's a shame. It's a great pity that Paul hasn't...
During the embarrassing Teddy Sheringham episode, Hoddle retained his dignity.
I'm very, very disappointed. He knows that, and he's the one that's going to lose out in the end.
In La Boule, he's been upbeat throughout and not afraid to have a laugh at his own expense.
How do you know that? That was behind closed doors.
That's the main thing in my mind, is the football thing. I mean, all the situations with talking to you guys and the press and doing whatever, they're on the peripherals for me. They're not the main event, you know. That's.
But they're part of your job.
It's part of my job, yeah, of course, and I quite enjoy it. You know, I quite enjoy having to go. I think if you go in there thinking, oh, not that again, you don't enjoy it. You've got to, you know, when you experience anything in life, you've got to enjoy it and try and get something positive out of it.
And the entire management team have been anxious to keep the squad just as positive, particularly those players on the fringe of selection.
The boss gets everybody involved. It's not just 11 players and then, you know, wipes his hands with the others. He gets everybody involved, and, you know, he keeps on emphasising how much it is a squad game.
Today, though, it's been about management mind games. Hoddle playing down England, talking up Romania.
I can only go by the facts. We weren't seeded, they were. There's not one player in my team that's experienced the World Cup. I think there's 8 or 9 players of theirs who've experienced 2 World Cups. So all them things add up, don't they? So in many ways, possibly they are the favourites, yeah. We'll put the pressure on their back, shall we?
More mind games then from Glenn Hoddle. Let's have a word with a couple of men who've been through the England mill. Bobby Robson, what have you made of how Glenn has handled the job you used to do in the last couple of years?
He's done very well, of course, but your staff is so important. Not only your technical staff, but your medical staff. And, I mean, I had a superb staff. I had Don Howe, of course, who was an ex-international player, and Dave Sexton, of course, Mike Kelly. But Glenn's got a very good staff, and the ambience that you create between your medical, your technical, and your playing staff is so important. That wins matches at the end of the day.
How important is the handling of the media side of things, Terry? You went bad at that.
Well, it's something that you have to deal with. You just can't sort of run round that one. You've got to hit it straight on, and you've got to deal with them, and you would like them to be on your side. Now, as I've said before, I don't believe that you're going to get that all the time. You're looking for peace and quiet, and they're looking for stories, so they want action, and it's a contradiction, my job, or as it was then and now Glenn's, to their job. You know, that you want to keep it quiet, and they want to get it going and get it up and cause all sorts of problems for you, and you have to deal with it. And in the end, actually, you can, if you get angry, you can say that you're looking forward to actually dealing with those problems.
How did you react, Bob, when you saw that piece going through about Glenn Hoddle and about the time you had with England? I mean, there was a bit of you saying, I wish I was there now as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think, yes, that's right. And I thought he handled the Sheringham situation very nicely, because not only did he control and discipline Sheringham and didn't, you know, evade it, but he wasn't vindictive either against Sheringham, because when it came to a vital selection situation in the first match against Tunisia, he selected Sheringham. So he kept faith and loyal to the player. And the player will respect that, you know, and the player will think a lot of Glenn Hoddle in that respect.
Barry, what would an England player want from an England manager?
Well, I think any player, the first thing he wants from a manager is loyalty. Loyalty, whatever goes on in the dressing room, whatever discipline's got to be dished out, can really be done as much as possible behind closed doors. Obviously, if you go out in the public where you're an England player and you upset people and you put yourself out, hang yourself out to dry, it's got to be dealt with in public. But when these things happen during the game, it's loyalty. And if you are going to be left out, you'd like to be not, in the know first, really, before the press get hold of it.
You talk about hanging players out to dry. Perhaps he did that with Teddy Sheringham.
Well, Bobby's right. He had to deal with it. Teddy made him. Teddy forced his hand. He had to come out and sort it out privately and publicly, and he did that. He did both those things very, very well. Now, Teddy put himself in that position, and Teddy won't have lost any respect of Glenn Hoddle, the way Glenn Hoddle dealt with it. You know, he kept it inside as much as possible, but Teddy really, he was a bit rash, wasn't he?
The word is honesty as well, loyalty, of course, but the word honest, to be honest with each other, have faith in each other, you can't beat that.
I think in the end, that was what makes a manager over a period of years. They're not foolish. Players smell you out. If they feel you let them down, or if you're dishonest, they know. And I think that's what really bonds you together. If they trust you, and you trust them, of course, you've got to protect them. But if they let you down badly, they can't put you out to dry as well. So there's that element as well, which is important.
Did you have any stories, Bobby, about things perhaps you did wrong, or you wish you hadn't have done, or?
No, not really. But I mean,
Come on, Bob.
No,
come on.
Yes, sure, push. Okay. How long have we got?
No, go on you go.
No, but I mean, I kept dealing with gas going for about 8 years, didn't I? I mean, you know, they said, well, how did you go white? I said, have gas going around you for 8 years. I mean, I called him daft as a brush, and he was. But the lovely thing was, the very next training session that we had with England, Gascoigne came out, and you would not believe this, he's got inside his stocking a brush, one of these hand brushes, and he trained for about an hour with a brush on the inside of his stocking. But what a laugh for the players and you know, the job of, you know, the humour,
sure.
The mood of the players. Because
So you wanted to play sweeper, didn't you?
Ah, yes.
You topped that one, Terry, or not?
Well, funny enough, while he's on him, Gazza, he swore at me coming off one day. I subbed him. So I got him in the dressing room, and because he wasn't one of those guys that was a big shot that actually didn't care. He was worried. He would ask everyone around, what do you think he'll do? And I said, I want to see you in the office. 15 minutes. So he comes up, knocks on the door. He comes in, and he's got a pint of beer in his hand. He said, that's for you. So I said, oh, right. Anyway, I went through it. I cut the story down, and I said, and don't do it again. And if you do, bring me a glass of wine. I hate beer. So nice. He told that the other day on the television. I saw it, so
nice
just
one.
Reminded me.
Comes from your part of the world, of course, doesn't he, Gascoigne? You've had two good ones there.
Sure as beer. No, I haven't got any funny. I'm not a storyteller. But the one thing about players, what we're talking about, yeah, lying. Players want to be wanted. They want to be appreciated.
Yeah.
And it's responsibility of the manager to get that across the players. Even if they don't really, sometimes they don't really, they can't stand the sight of the player, but they've got to be made to be feel wanted so they can perform for the manager. It's the art, part of the art of management.
I think one of the most important things, that people talk about discipline, and if you act like Sergeant Major at a time, you force people in corners. I think it's to get a good atmosphere, that people actually want to be in your atmosphere and they don't want to leave it. I think is a very important trick if you can do that.
Well, thanks all three. It's a pretty tough job to get right, I know that. Let's move on, though, and have a look at the Scotland camp, shall we, at Saint-Rémy in Provence. One of football's little ironies, I suppose. The injury to Colin Calderwood opened the way for David Weir to come on and lay on the goal that keeps the Scots afloat. The latest developments now come up from Gabriel Clarke.
Refreshed after their first day off, Scotland's players return to training and the customary hero's welcome. Optimism oozes from everywhere. Brazil have promised they won't shuffle down the gears against Norway, but the news is not so good for the great British baked bean, exiled by England and nowhere to be seen in Saint-Rémy.
No, beans are not on my menu. There's a few other things on my menu, but baked beans isn't one of them.
Never touch baked beans. Never.
I've not seen them in the hotel, actually. I don't like baked beans anyway, so it doesn't matter.
Colin Calderwood returns to Saint-Rémy tomorrow and could play again if Scotland qualify. Second-guessing Craig Brown's selection is never easy, but David Weir, the Hearts defender and pass master behind Craig Burley's equaliser against Norway, is now likely to start on the front line.
Myself, Matt Elliott, Derek White, you know, we're all sort of competing for that position, so it will be difficult, but Craig will tell us within the next 2 or 3 days what the team's going to be, and obviously we'll have my fingers crossed.
There is one scenario next Tuesday night that not even Craig Brown can prepare his players for, probably because it doesn't bear too much thinking about. If Scotland draw 1-1 with Morocco and Norway lose 1-0 to Brazil, then lots will be drawn in Paris to determine whether Scotland or Norway go home or go through.
I'd rather it wasn't going to go to that. Hopefully if we can do what we intend to do, that'll always just been, you know, what might have happened. No, we couldn't handle that, surely.
Now then, Barry, England have banned beans from the camp. I think it didn't quite conform to the dietary regulations. What do you make of that?
Well, Arsene Wenger has banned beans. We've, you know, throughout the footballing career, for what reason, yeah. Throughout the footballing career, you've always assumed that beans on toast, you know, pre-match is good for you. But I believe, I might be stand correctedly, I believe that there's far too much sugar in it, and it gives you a slight high.
Let's talk to you about the Scots. I mean, we saw the Moroccans against Brazil. Surely the Scots are going to beat them, aren't they?
Well, I'd like to think so. If the Moroccans turn out with an attitude like they did against the Brazilians, they didn't fancy it at all. They were finished before the game started. But they did play well in the initial game, and they have got a lot of talent, and they will have to be watched. But I fancy the Scotland spirit to come through. There's an awful lot of pride in that squad, and they're really determined to make it to the second round, and I fancy them to do it.
Bobby, let's come across to you on Scotland. There seems to be among you fellas a big feeling that Scotland this time they're going to knock it on the head, they're going to go through.
Yeah, I think so. I hope so. I mean, I like Craig Brown very much. I think he's a good manager and he has a grand rapport with the players. They've given 2 very excellent, encouraging performances. They played quite well against Brazil. I think what Barry said is very important. Morocco played great in the first match and dreadful in the second. How will they come up for it? But regardless of how they play, Scotland have it in their own hands. And I think that Gallagher and Jury, again, who I've liked very much in this tournament, will do enough to win the match.
They've got to make a couple of changes. No Calderwood, Darren Jackson suspended. How will that affect them, do you think, Barry?
Well, hopefully not too much. They're not renowned for scoring goals, and I think the main man for scoring goals is Jury. He's the one who's put all the effort in up front. He's worked tirelessly. I mean, you see him chasing, but I think the collective spirit rather than the individuals is epitomised what the Scottish squad's about, the Scottish team's about, and to lose one, I think they can cover up, although they are big misses.
I think what Bobby's saying there, we really ought to endorse here. Scotland made a lot of friends. They've been making friends again tonight. They're in Avignon, in Provence. There they are. Colin Hendry and company, all kilted up. A special reception, and terrific to see. And what a class act Craig Brown is, and we're all hoping that the Scots do indeed get through to that second phase, and it doesn't go down to drawing lots or anything like that either. Okay, well, next, action stations on Encore. Those Nigerians have enchanted us once again. The Olympic champions threatening to make a very big impression on France 98.
Standing here waiting for a bus,
The wages we're on, you'd think one of us could afford a car.
The boots make players more powerful. The ball is faster and truer. World Cup '98. It's about those who love the game enough to do something about it.
I used to dream of a white wedding. What a nightmare.
I guess I didn't know. I guess I didn't know. I guess I didn't know. I guess I didn't know.
Getting real well known, yeah, the bad guys know us and they leave us alone. I get around, round, 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 I get around, get around, round, round, I get around,
With a BT charge card, calls are charged to your phone bill. All our usual discounts apply, saving you up to 35% on the calls you make with it while you're out and about.
Mitsubishi Galant displays some surprisingly human characteristics. Its passive rear-wheel steering acts instinctively to keep a firm grip on the road, whilst its climate control system stabilizes the temperature to within a fraction of a degree. And the revolutionary automatic gearbox actually learns your individual driving style and adapts to the road conditions. The new Mitsubishi Galant, reinventing the wheel.
This is Rosenthal 5-year wood stain. It's a wood stain from Rosenthal that lasts about 5 years. It protects your wood and is rainproof in about an hour, which means in about an hour, your wood is rainproof and protected. So if you want your wood stain to last 5 years, use Rosenthal 5-year wood stain. It does exactly what it says on the tin.
Flat post! Flat post! Get it!
It was offside, man.
And today I've brought my gear stick collection to show you. This green one's very nice.
And welcome back to the ITV studio in Paris at the end of a sizzling hot day. It started with Brazil and France leading the charge to the last 16. Nigeria poised to join them if they could beat Bulgaria at the Parc des Princes. Nigeria talking enthusiastically about actually winning the World Cup on the back of that thrilling victory over Spain. All sorts of disputes in the ageing Bulgarian ranks. They only managed a goalless draw with Paraguay first time out. Here's Ron Atkinson and Clive Tilsley. So, Nigeria through, really anybody, Spain included, could still join them, and that crucial Spain-Bulgaria match is live on ITV next Wednesday. Now, Bobby, you've worked in Spain. What a terrible result that is for them.
They'll be very disappointed. The manager Clemente made 5 changes today, which surprised me. He normally doesn't do that. Whether he's had a managerial wobble.
Panic?
Well, he's had a wobble. Because, well, he has.
When we've got an hour, you can tell me the difference.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll give my opinion.
Yep.
Because in my opinion, he's left better players on the bench than he had actually on the pitch. And he finished the match.
Boots, they now have a range of different health cover and travel cover plans. You simply pick them off the shelf, pay at the till, and you're covered. Want peace of mind? Like simplicity? Love Boots.
Escape
with Hertz from only £14 a day.
It says here that Standard Life manage over £60 billion worth of assets.
How much? I could buy a lot of toys with that.
Helen, did you hear that? That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah. 60 billion. It's a lot of money, isn't it?
Say it for Mummy.
Odds, we take Psycho's dog for a walk. Evens, take my auntie for a walk. Two rocks, Kev. Game of pool? Or with better shots on the next race.
Ooh, I'm glad I've got those lumbar supports in my car. Ooh.
And you're back with us in Paris, where Holland was stifled by Belgium last weekend. Kluivert's red card makes you wonder if the Dutch, supremely talented of course, are again going to be their own worst enemies.
For 35 years, Dutch football has spawned some of the game's great talent, the masterful men of orange. Yet so often the total football package has come with aggravation included. Frankly speaking, there is no more opinionated set of players, no better team in the world at beating themselves. 2 years ago, Edgar Davids walked out amid rumours that the Dutch squad was divided right down the middle.
The big problem was that there was something in between a few players, and they took it into the national squad, and that was for us the big problem, because it concerned only 2 or 3 players, and that harmed the squad that much that we couldn't perform.
To ease relations, Gus Hiddink has turned to 3 past masters, Johan Neeskens, Ronald Koeman and Frank Rijkaard, a coach come marriage guidance counsellor, especially to the prodigal Davids.
We talked about that, and I said, and he said, it's not, you're not coming because of the so-called problems which were created now from the outside world. But that's not the first issue. He's just and doing very well as an assistant.
Frank Rijkaard has already had a big say in Holland's hotel arrangements for this World Cup. Rijkaard has a home here in Monte Carlo, and this week the Dutch flew from Paris to the most glamorous of cliff-top locations in the Côte d'Azur. Dennis Bergkamp dodged the plane and took the long way round.
How long did it take you? It was about 6 hours, I think, yeah.
But better than flying, yeah?
For me it is, yeah. This is probably the, maybe the last time, because you never know if you can qualify for the next, and you never know if you're too old for the next, so you have to think of now and trying to do well.
Belgium's approach in the opening game underlined how respected Gus Hiddink's side are and what they're now up against. Frustrated and provoked, Patrick Kluivert ended up reaching for the big orange self-destruct button, just what the opposition wanted to see. Holland's latest multi-talented collection are going to have to work that one out as a team.
We're 2 years wiser now, and we should do okay.
Well, you can see if they do okay here on ITV, Holland against South Korea live, the last of 3 programmes on ITV tomorrow. We begin with the World Cup 98 special at 12:30, and at 1:10 you can see the match live between Japan and Croatia. Bobby, you're off to work in Eindhoven not too long now, is it, to work for PSV? What do you make of the Dutch here?
Great players at shooting themselves in the foot. Great talkers, always have an opinion, but produce great players. The team, which I think we've got now, is a bit strange. No main striker, Kluivert out, of course. Looks as though Bergkamp might play up front, and Overmars, obviously. Whether he pushes Ronald de Boer up behind Bergkamp will remain to be seen, but that's not, in my opinion, Bergkamp's best position. Well, I like the coach. I mean, Gus Hiddink is a very good coach, and he's taken on board, hasn't he, Rijkaard, Neeskens.
He's tried to sort
Koeman
things out.
to sort things out internally, you know. If he gets that right, he has a chance.
Terry, as a coach, you'd be really frustrated being in charge of a team like Holland, who just seem to underachieve all the time.
Well, we've said that. I mean,
I know your team tanked them, didn't they, in Euro 96?
Yeah, I mean, but they've gone through in the past, and they've always had problems in their camp, and they've always been successful. I don't take that as anything. I think sometimes you can use that in your favour as well. I mean, you can just make sure that the thing that happens is on the field. If they've got their best, I mean, they played that side against us at Wembley. They played Bergkamp.
They're playing him up front
there, and
tomorrow,
Ronald de Boer
aren't they? Right
behind.
at the peak.
It's exactly the same sort of system as they played last time, but we'll see.
What do you think, Barry? Do you think you always need a settled camp to produce a good performance?
Not necessarily. The players don't have to, you know, live hand in glove. They don't have to get on, but they must have respect for each other on the field. They must respect each other as players. And if they don't have that, and I don't think that's always been the case, then they won't prosper. And with the talent they've got at their disposal, they've got every right to succeed and be a lot more successful on the world stage than they have been.
I think that, to be fair, that was a difficult opening game. They've already beaten twice in qualifications, and it's a bit like England-Scotland. They know each other inside out. They tactically had them bound up, Belgium, I felt.
Bob, you were there?
Yeah, I was there, and I was disappointed in Kluivert. I mean, he's a very good player, and they need him, really. I mean, for a player not be willing to shake an opponent's hand on a little issue, for me, is bad sportsmanship. And it's hurt the camp.
And coming back to you, Barry, Dennis Bergkamp there saying pretty decisively it's probably going to be his last World Cup. He'll want to perform on the world stage.
Well, there's a lot of people at that stage of their career in this World Cup, and you'd expect them to give him one good final push. He'd be very keen to leave, you know, go out with a bang. Brilliant player, talented player. But can you really class him as world class when he hasn't gone so far in the World Cup as he'd like to have gone? I think he's a world class player. I'm sure he'd like to add, you know, a semi-final or a final to his little repertoire.
The last World Cup, I mean, let's not underestimate it. They only went out to Brazil and they got back from 2-0 down. They got to 2-2 and were fantastic. And he scored a goal. And I thought that World Cup, they were playing fantastically well. And it needed the eventual champions to knock them out.
If you look at their squad, I mean, they've got a fantastic squad.
Yeah, it's just
talented players. Probably the best, you know, one of the best squads, you know, in this country.
I think individually, them and France may be the individually best equipped.
Good. Terry, remember that in the Mexican, we called him Billy, didn't we? Billy Blanco. Yeah. Remember that the trick was it?
Yeah,
It was,
that was brilliant.
Fantastic sort of little piece of skill. And Billy Blanco against South Korea. Hopped his way through there, and so good he thought he'd try it again.
Billy the bouncer.
There he goes. Now, we've had all sorts of faxes, we've had all sorts of emails from you. For my money, this one is top of the charts. It comes from Red Dragon FM radio in Cardiff. And last Saturday, in the Daily Express, they spotted, this is before the game, remember, a cartoon, Sporting Sam, repeating Reg Wootton's work in the 50s and 60s. Now, just have a look at Sporting Sam here. There he goes. Up and over. And that was before the game. Cartoon from the 50s. What do you think, Terry? It's all been done before.
No, the last time I've seen that was Jimmy Hill jumping out the bath with a bar of soap between his feet.
And that must have been a memorable sight, I'll tell you. Seeing Jimmy Hill with a bar of soap.
Okay. Brilliant facts, that one. Right then, it's a long old slog, this World Cup. 5 weeks if you go the full distance. The teams, well, they're locked away. The security's intense. Just the other squad members for company. Can get a bit lonely. But should it really be a case of brothers in arms? Tony Francis reports.
Through these fields of destruction, baptisms of fire.
You can't beat a bit of male bonding, can you? What's the matter, Bebeto, you silly old thing? I know it's not easy being Belgian, but we'll get through it somehow. Know what I mean? No, frankly, I've got a much better idea. Stop this Boy Scout nonsense and get a life. The siege mentality is a bit unnatural when you think about it. 22 grown men contemplating their navels for weeks on end, with only the occasional football match to stop their brains congealing. It wasn't surprising then that Claudia Horsfeld turned a few heads at the Italian training camp the other day. The Mexican model come singer come here please was conducting a survey for Azteca TV on the role of women in the world's greatest sporting event. Well, something like that.
Do you think they have beautiful? In general, yes, but it's not. We are not here for their face. We are here to see them play.
The Japanese declared a ban on intimate relations with the opposite sex during the World Cup. It's their first appearance in the competition, and if they keep giving the ball away, it might not last very long. The Japanese have said no sex during the World Cup.
I don't think so.
Is that sensible?
No, I don't think so, because I think the men are playing, but they have their lives, so they have to continue the same lifestyle. Why to change it?
Otherwise they get frustrated.
Yes, I think so, a little bit.
Once they'd prized Ronaldo and Bebeto apart, Brazil showed the way by bringing over the girls for a trip to Euro Disney. And why not? Some quality time in female company couldn't do any harm, could it? 3 of them scored against Morocco. Glenn Hoddle's gone the Japanese route. No sex, please, we're bonding. Apparently, Beckham's not allowed to listen to the Spice Girls. Not while he's on the bench, anyway. In the meantime, the world's greatest Romeos somehow managed to keep their eye on the ball, despite the presence of Claudia. I just hope celibacy doesn't do to the Italians what it did to the Jamaicans.
That's how they played as well, you know.
Yeah. There's another fact for you, Terry, from Yvette. It says, no, I'm only kidding, I'm only kidding. You're all right, you're all right, you're all right. You're all right. Any thoughts about tactics in the World Cup, briefly?
Yeah, I think it's been excellent all round. I think it's going to get better. I don't think it's been brilliant football. I mean, there's been some good games, I've really enjoyed them, but I've just got a feeling it's going to get better, just like in America, hopefully.
Let's hope so. No more faxes, because Mountie always gets his man, you said to me.
I'll get you.
I'm worried. Well, on the back of those 5 dismissals yesterday, the red mist thankfully lifted today, but the fallout is still there. The day in 60 seconds now with Phil Mepham.
Zinedine Zidane could have played his last game of the tournament. Stamping on an opponent has today brought a 2-match ban, so he's out until the quarter-finals if France get that far. Yesterday's clampdown has today been commended by new FIFA President Sepp Blatter, but that hasn't impressed Celtic's Danish defender Mark Rieper, who said that Blatter is a man who's never kicked a ball in his life and is threatening to ruin the World Cup. Scotland have confirmed that Colin Calderwood will return to the squad tomorrow. An operation on his broken hand has been successful. He could play in the second round if Scotland are in it. The police are out in force in Toulouse, venue for England's next match with Romania. And it was revealed today that fencing could return for the visit of England's notorious followers. A decision will be made within the next 48 hours.
And finally, the England squad have been having an initiative test to include as many song titles as possible in television and radio interviews. Tonight, Encore can reveal the competition is closed, as our man in the camp, Gary Newbon, discovered when he spoke exclusively to the England skipper, Alan Shearer.
Well, name that tune. Are you still naming the tunes?
No, it's all over now, Gary.
This could be the last time. I don't know. From those 3 and me, good night.
Should have bought my car.
Taxi! Taxi! I say, taxi! Meet me over there. There! Taxi!
In this dirty old part of the city, it's one weird place where the sun refused to shine.